Not brand new by any stretch of the imagination, but has been creeping up on us for a very long time, though now in abundance everywhere. The specific transformation of vices into virtues. One of the best manifestations of this is parenting. Don't want to be a parent? Don't be a parent. Be that really cool parent that has no sorts of rules, doesn't keep track of what your kid's doing, what your kid's getting into. You never have to ground them. You never have to be putting in the work of monitoring what they're doing. Hey, honestly, I've been there. That is hell. It would be so much easier to just not do it. And now, of course, modern parents for decades have been, we're the cool parent. We don't have so many rules. Pretending that it's good, pretending that it's cool, pretending that it's the parent they want to be, to disguise the moral and ethical cowardice that says, I just am not going to bother to be there for my kid, pretending it's a virtue when really you're just negligent. Funny enough, elsewhere online, I was called a coward for believing that countries should have borders because it must mean I'm afraid of foreigners. Here's a perfect example of a virtue signal. When you are literally too cowardly and gutless to protect your own property, your family, your kids, your grandkids, people wandering into your land, your property, your home that don't belong there, taking food out of the mouths of your kids and grandkids and letting them starve. And you are too cowardly not only to do anything about it, but you're too cowardly to even say that you don't like it online. But you pretend that it's a virtue. You wander the wastes of the internet, virtue signaling of how brave you are because you have the courage to let these people destroy the lives you are actually obligated to have help and stewardship to. You're the one that's a coward, but it pretends to be heroic. It's a virtue. I can put it on my profile picture. People can't be illegal. Open the borders now, and I don't care what happens to my kids and grandkids. The inversion of good and evil, heroism and cowardice, of virtue and vice. It's dangerous on YouTube to talk too much about the way kids are being taught, programmed, brainwashed. Can I say that? Parents around the country are literally taking their kids and handing them over to perverts and sexual deviants to be indoctrinated. In most places in America, the laws that prohibit child sexual abuse are still on the books. They're just not being enforced. Honestly, at this point, we have millions of people that need to be arrested and prosecuted. Every school that's sponsored, every library that's sponsored, every parent that signed the permission slip for the school, all the people involved with. You are literally, if you took your kid to a porn shop and exposed them to sex toys a decade ago, that would have easily been an inappropriate conduct charge. And you can't take your kids into bars when they're under it. You can't take your kids into strip clubs. Whatever happened to that? It's all gone. It's all gone. But the parents are so desperate to abandon any role of real parenting, so desperate to hand their kids over to the virtue signaling of the world, literally so desperate to sacrifice their own kids to sexual deviance. They stand there and watch it being done to their kids. Unfathomable. Because society is now telling them, if you don't believe this, you're an Ismarchy obiist, you're the bad guy, and they will do anything to keep their pretty rainbow profile picture cover, their pretty virtue signaling online, even deliver their kids to the beast to be abused. This is completely the inversion of good and evil. But this is exactly how Marxism works. It is turning the world upside down. Literally taking everything that is good, honest, noble, decent, normal, healthy, natural, and always advocating for the things which are abnormal, unhealthy, perverted, sick, twisted. Marxism is the constant cultural revolution of the parasite that won't work, can't work, won't think, can't think, won't develop, won't create, won't invent, won't do, but whines and complains that everything is everybody else's fault all the time, and that they are somehow entitled to the things they didn't create, didn't earn, didn't work for. Like any other sort of barbarous revolution, what ultimately happens is it tears apart the fabric of the civilization it hates and despises, until that it is no longer there for them to leech off of the byproducts of said civilization and technology. The constant inversion of vice and virtue, of good and evil and right and wrong is all part of this. This is why our mainstream media, this is why our superhero shows are filled with immoral characters. Like, what do you not get about sexual perversion and being unnatural and immoral? You might do that in privacy in your own home. It is not heroic. You can't be a superhero and be decadent and depraved. It just doesn't work that way, and it doesn't work for these shows. But it's all part of the propaganda, trying to turn absolute despicable filth into heroic figures to warp the minds of future generations. So at its core, whether it's with parenting or sexual values or national values, it's all the same Marxist dialectic and broad global communist cultural revolution that takes away everything that we've ever had that is good, decent, honest, or proper, everything literally that makes life worth living. Your family, your loved ones, being married, having kids, having church, having work, having nation, having patriotism, having a home. All of these things are stripped away by the hatred of the decadent, the depraved, and the non-productive, lazy folk. And they have so injected this vitriol into every aspect of contemporary culture that it's polluted everything from comic books, coloring books, up to cinema, to movies, to rewriting the history of the world. You can't even watch TV commercials. You've got men who are not able to have periods doing feminine hygiene commercials.